The janitor's son who outsmarted the system. A $100 million turnaround in the towering glass building of Stratacory Industries. Panic gripped the boardroom. The company's latest AI algorithm had glitched during a high-stakes deployment, costing millions in investor trust and threatening a $100 million defense contract with the government. Months of work were unraveling in a matter of hours, and no one could trace the flaw. The room was filled with top-tier engineers, data scientists, and executives in sharp suits. But not a single solution emerged. CEO Marla Kensington, a sharp, poised woman with a reputation for calm under pressure, slammed her laptop shut in frustration. "We're out of time. If this isn't fixed by tomorrow, we lose the contract." Her voice echoed through the heavy silence of the boardroom. Engineers avoided eye contact, some nervously flipping through code printouts, others helplessly refreshing their error dashboards. Downstairs, in the marble-tiled lobby that gleamed under artificial light, 16-year-old Elijah Thompson sat quietly on a bench, his head buried in a weathered spiral notebook. He was waiting for his mother, Vanessa, who was finishing her night shift as the building's janitor. Elijah had been coming with her all week, during his summer break, often staying out of sight, observing the building's inner workings while she cleaned. Elijah wasn't just a curious teenager. From a young age, he had shown signs of rare analytical ability. At night, while other kids played video games, Elijah studied algorithms online. He taught himself programming languages using free resources from public libraries and open courseware. Code, for him, was a language he understood better than English. As the elevator doors slid open with a soft chime, Vanessa emerged with her mop, bucket, and weary eyes. "You okay, baby?" she asked, her voice tired but warm. Elijah nodded, but his gaze was locked on a monitor screen near the security desk. It displayed snippets of the company's real-time system logs, dozens of error codes flashing red across the bottom of the screen. He leaned over, reading quietly. "That doesn't make sense," he whispered to himself. While Vanessa continued down the hallway, Elijah followed slowly, still clutching his notebook. As she scrubbed the floor outside the server room, he lingered by the door. Curiosity overtook him. He slipped inside the room, the cool air hitting his face instantly. Rows of servers blinked with quiet urgency, and a massive wall monitor displayed a flowchart of the AI's decision-making tree. Elijah's eyes scanned the screen. Lines of code danced across it, tangled and looping, full of nested logic and recursive calls. His fingers itched with instinct. Pulling out his notebook, he began scribbling. He'd heard snippets of conversation all week, snippets of what the AI was supposed to do and what it wasn't doing. He had pieced together enough to start forming an idea. They missed a recursive call. The logic loop backfires when it hits malformed behavioral nodes, he muttered. The flaw wasn't in the data. It was in the way the AI responded to unpredictable scenarios, something its creators hadn't planned for. He wrote out a corrected function. Just as Elijah stood to leave, the janitorial supervisor entered, eyes narrowing. "What are you doing?" "Here, boy," he barked. Elijah flinched. "Just looking." "Sorry, sir." He slipped out, heart pounding. Back in the staff room, Vanessa scolded Elijah quietly. "I know you're smart, baby, but this isn't our world. We clean their floors." "That's it." Elijah said nothing. But in his mind, gears were already turning. Just because it's not our world, he thought, doesn't mean we don't belong in it. The next morning, the executive team gathered again, their energy nearly drained. An emergency consulting team from MIT had been scheduled but canceled last minute due to a scheduling conflict. The company was truly alone. Developers argued over minor syntax issues, while others double-checked logs for the 100th time. Vanessa entered the boardroom quietly, carrying a small cart with cleaning supplies. Elijah followed her in, his notebook held tightly in one hand. "Excuse me," he said, barely above a whisper. The room quieted. I think I know what's wrong with your code." A few chuckles followed. One executive shook his head in disbelief. "You're the cleaner's kid, right?" he asked, incredulous. Elijah nodded. "I've been listening all week. I read the logs. The AI is breaking when it hits edge case logic loops. Your decision tree doesn't know how to handle them." Marla, desperate and running out of time, raised a hand. "Let him speak," she said. Turning to Elijah, she added, "You say you know what's wrong. Can you fix it?" "I think so," he replied. Just ... Let me try." She nodded at a systems engineer to let the boy in. Elijah stepped up to the massive touch console. He carefully removed his notebook, flipping to the page with his handwritten function. With calm precision, he typed the new code into the terminal. For 10 seconds, the screen was blank. Then, like dominoes, the error logs began to clear. One after another, the AI modules rebooted and began running simulations. Each passed without issue. The rogue behavior stopped. All anomalies disappeared. The boardroom sat in stunned silence. "Run a full diagnostic," Marla said quickly. The engineer did so. The eye passed all 31 stress simulations flawlessly. Marla stood slowly. "Who is this kid?" she asked quietly. Vanessa, who had stood silently in the corner, clutched her mop. Her eyes filled with tears. "Elijah," she said proudly. "My son." Marla looked from mother to son. "Elijah, how would you like an internship?" In the CEO's office later that day, Marla sat with Vanessa and Elijah. "I owe you both more than an apology," she said. "We looked at you and saw roles. We didn't see people." Within 24 hours, news of the janitor's genius son had spread across tech media. Elijah gave a few interviews, his answers humble and thoughtful. Every time he gave credit to his mother. "She taught me how to observe, how to stay curious," he said. A retired AI pioneer from Stanford saw the story and offered to personally mentor Elijah. "Kids like him don't just fix broken systems," he said. "They reimagine them." Top universities reached out with full scholarships. Elijah, still 16, had done what their best graduate students couldn't. Strotokori changed that week. Marla led a new initiative to recruit talent from underrepresented communities. Internship pipelines opened to students in underserved areas. Elijah's story had become the turning point in a company long overdue for transformation. They even mounted a plaque on the server room door. "Here, a janitor's son solved the impossible." 3 years later, Strotokori hosted an innovation summit. The keynote speaker was Elijah Thompson, now 19, and the company's youngest ever lead systems architect. He walked on stage with confidence. In the front row, Vanessa sat proudly, a tear slipping down her cheek. At the ceremony, she was honored for her years of service. Elijah helped her up the stairs, smiling. That night, a documentary aired about Elijah's rise. The final words from the narrator said it best: "Greatness doesn't come from where you stand, it comes from where you rise." And Elijah? He never stopped rising.